The word about life is Psalm 126. It is a short psalm I want to share with you. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dream. Then our mouth was filled with laughter and our tongue with shouts of joy. Then it was said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us, and we rejoiced. Restore our fortunes, O Lord. Like the watercourses in the Negeb. May those who sow in tears reap with shouts of joy. Those who go out to the fields weeping, bearing the seed for sowing, shall come home with shouts of joy, carrying their sheaves. Please pray with me. Spirit of life and love, bless what is said, bless what is heard. For there is not just one message given this morning, but as many messages as there are ears to hear. May we hear. May we listen. May you use these words to give us strength for the journey. Amen. I had an ongoing discussion with a man in the church I served in Millbury, Ohio. He insisted that joy and fun were the same thing. And I insisted that joy and fun were different. We never convinced each other of the rightness of our viewpoint. I think the strongest idea that the difference between fun and joy is the difference between kid joy and adult joy. And when I was a child, I thought like a child. I acted like a child. I looked at the world and I moved through the world like a child. But when I became an adult, I put childish ways behind me. And so I want to make a distinction between kid joy and adult joy. Adult joy is based on a couple of truths. First, suffering is universal. We all do it. We all have it. I have a secret. In terms of life, nobody gets out of here alive. We all die. Second assumption. Adults have a vision and a hope to make the life that we want. We take personal responsibility individually and then also communally as a group. We say, this is the life, this is the vision that we want, and we take responsibility and we move into it and we work through it, and it is joy that is the energy that makes the world we want possible. The third assumption. Adult joy is always happening during challenge and difficulty. In fact, joy may be our calling. And when we say at the end of the service, these are the times, we are the people, we are admitting that the times are challenging and can push us to despair. But we are the joyful people who stand in the midst of a suffering world. We are like the salt that keeps the meat from spoiling, and we are the light when the rest of our neighbors can only see darkness. Our calling is joy. But you see, joy is not fun. Fun is good. I like fun. We all like to have fun. Peg was telling Claire, our granddaughter, yesterday in the car, was saying to our granddaughter that she, Peg, and I should have more fun because we are very boring people. This sermon might be evidence to point to that. Yes, fun is good. We like fun. But it is not joy. Fun is a distraction from the way life is. Joy is the result of embracing the way life is. And life is transitory, life is brief, and life is full of loss. When I lay in bed and watch my wife sleep, I have joy to have so much beauty in my life. But I am also aware, acutely aware, that one day she or I will die, and the powerful, life-giving experience of these moments will be gone. You see, there's no connection between fun and dying. But there is a connection between dying and joy. The son of the man that I used to argue with in Millbury, Ohio, he used to go around saying, "We're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time." Because that apple did not fall far from that tree. And yet they were two of the saddest and angriest people I had ever met in my life. That despite all their surface attempts to have fun and be the funniest person in the room, both of these men were deeply wounded by a death in their family. The death of a child in this family meant the death of a son for one, and to the other it was the death of a brother. For them, they could not face the profound connection between dying and joy. All they could do was run and run and run and hide and distract themselves, supposedly with fun. You see, life is transitory and short. When we see this as one of the most profound truths that we share as human beings, then something happens between us. We make a deep human connection. And it pulls out of us, out of our depths. It pulls out a tenderness and an openness and a vulnerability and a joy, an adult joy. A missionary named Del Tar from South Dakota worked in West Africa for 14 years. Being from South Dakota, he was very familiar with sowing and planting and harvesting. However, these activities and seasons were very different experiences for him when he was in the sub-Sahara. What he witnessed was the abundance of October and November, where the family could sit down and have 2 meals a day, and they would go to bed, the children with their bellies full. But as the months go by and the grain becomes less and the number of meals and the size of the meals would shrink, by April they were living on broth and gruel made from tree bark and roots. Dr. Ter says, "It is inevitable that a child will find a sack full of grain, run to tell his parents. The discovery for the child is like finding a treasure, and the child is certain that everyone will be able to fill their bellies again for that day, that they wouldn't have to go to sleep hungry." But the parents have to say no. No. The sack of grain is seed for planting when the rains come again in May so that they can have abundance again in October. And so the children then watch their parents take the seed and throw it on the ground in hope of a harvest time. And while the parents are throwing the seed on the ground, tears are streaming down their face because this handful of seed would guarantee that my child would not be hungry today. But I am sowing so they won't be hungry for tomorrow. They sow in tears, but they reap with joy. The writer of the psalm saw this happen in their world and thought, what a powerful metaphor for the way life is. That life and death, suffering and joy are not opposites, but they are intimately connected in what it means to be a human being and what it means to be a human community. But how is it that we can bear such a harsh reality? We can deny it. We can distract ourselves with fun activities. That is one very popular coping strategy. But it is a strategy that ultimately leaves us empty and ultimately leaves us bitter. The other strategy is to embrace this truth. To embrace the truth that it is a whole package. Find others who share this adult joy. And then bear one another's burdens. And then, even in the midst of loss, we celebrate the deep goodness of life. Amen.